In the wild, the Mexican salamander, the axolotl, is practically a ghost, yet it is one of the most common exotic pets on the planet. Their native habitat was highly specific. They evolved in the vast, interconnected lake system of Xochimilco in the Valley of Mexico, a thriving aquatic ecosystem. Today, that landscape is drastically different. Urbanization, severe water pollution, and the introduction of predatory fish like tilapia have devastated canals. This chart breaks down the surviving population today. On the left side, we see fewer than 1,000 individuals left in their native habitat. On the right, millions of descendants from 19th century scientific specimens now thrive in home aquariums around the world. Bringing one of these survivors into your home requires strict adherence to their strange biology. Misunderstanding their temperature limits or water chemistry has immediate lethal consequences. Keeping an axolotl healthy requires maintaining a fragile biological suspension against severe odds. Axolotls rely on a fascinating evolutionary strategy called neoteny. This means they permanently retain their juvenile, larval physical traits even after reaching sexual maturity. While their close relatives, like the tiger salamander, eventually drop their gills and crawl onto dry land to survive, axolotls bypass this process entirely. They stay fully aquatic their entire lives. You can see this permanent larval state in their most famous feature, those soft, feathery pink stalks extending from the back of their head. These are exposed, highly delicate external gills. This perpetual youth comes with a serious biological advantage. Because their cells remain somewhat unspecialized, they can fully regenerate severed limbs, sections of their spine, and even portions of their brain and heart. But because they never mature into tough terrestrial adults, they lack resilient skin. As an owner, you are tasked with caring for an adult animal permanently trapped in a highly vulnerable baby's body. When people hear Mexican salamander, they naturally imagine a creature built for a warm, tropical climate. The geographic reality is exactly the opposite. The Xochimilco Basin sits at a high altitude and was historically fed by freezing glacial meltwater from the surrounding mountains. Looking at this thermometer graphic, their strict comfort window requires highly oxygenated water maintained perfectly between 60 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit. If the water crosses 75 degrees, their immune system breaks down. They suffer severe heat stress and become highly susceptible to deadly fungal infections. Because the average modern home is kept much warmer than 68 degrees, standard room temperature is actively dangerous to them. A motorized aquarium chiller is the most critical piece of hardware you can buy. Your primary job as a keeper is fighting your own home's thermostat to enforce an artificial perpetual winter. Their innocent appearance masks a difficult reality. These are heavy polluters, generating massive amounts of bioload. They are strict carnivores. A healthy diet of high-protein night crawlers and sinking pellets directly translates into a constant heavy output of ammonia waste in the water. To prevent toxic water, you must establish the nitrogen cycle. Beneficial bacteria naturally consume raw ammonia, converting it into nitrites. Inside a mature filter, a second bacterial colony processes those nitrites into stable nitrates, which you easily manage through weekly water changes. If you drop an axolotl into a brand new, uncycled tank, that bacterial defense grid doesn't exist yet. The water quickly fills with ammonia, causing painful chemical burns and forward-curling gills. Keeping an axolotl healthy transforms the keeper into a manager of a microscopic chemical treatment plant. Keeping these animals safe requires strict discipline. You need an active chiller holding the cold, a fully cycled biological filter processing the heavy waste, and extremely fine sand so they don't swallow fatal pieces of gravel. When you perfectly balance those harsh variables, the result is tranquil. You replicate the pristine, stable conditions of the ancient canals they once called home. This rigorous engineering grants the rare privilege of stewardship over a biological marvel. In a carefully engineered system, insulated from predators and pollution, these delicate amphibians will easily thrive for 10 to 15 years. By mastering these rigid rules, your home aquarium becomes a vital sanctuary for a strange and beautiful animal fading from the natural world. Before you bring one home, ensure your environment is perfectly established.
Head over to the complete Krawlo Mexican Salamander Care Guide to master the exact steps of tank cycling and habitat setup today.